Hello? Sometimes we act like a fool, not aware we're troublemakers. Sometimes we try to be cool, not being givers, only takers. Stop for a minute, stop and breathe for a minute. Don't get over your head, try to listen instead, won't you? Who you wanna be for a minute? Don't get over your head, you're like everyone else, aren't you? You could gain from being a bit nicer, know when to talk and when to shut your mouth. You're so moody, always such a fighter. Try to open up your mind sometimes. You'll be just fine. Sometimes we yell when we're sad, and sometimes we laugh when we're afraid. Sometimes we smile when we're mad, and some lines we wished we'd never said. Stop for a minute, stop and breathe for a minute. Don't get over your head, try to listen instead, won't you? Think for a minute, who you wanna be for a minute. Don't get over your head, you're like everyone else, aren't you? You could gain from being a bit nicer, know when to talk and when to shut your mouth. You're so moody, always such a fighter. Try to open up your mind sometimes. You'll be just fine.
Caught behind Venetian blinds, out of reach for the city lights. And this ain't where I belong. Hey, look at me, man, what I've become. I've been running east, looking for a sunset, digging deep since 99. What I thought was gone was sitting in my pocket in plain sight all along. I think it's time for me to go and burn all bridges. All I know, I got lost along the way, fell between the foam, pulling stitches. Time to let go, so come what may. Don't look before you leave. What you give, you get to keep.
Let's see if this will do. I'm trying something just a little different today, and while I'm always trying something different, we're just going to get back into the build and see how it works. My room is like weirdly dark at the moment, so we're going to get some strange shattering. You can hear me now. Yeah, I know. I still don't have my buttons figured out, so give me just one shake to play with the blinds, and I'll be right with you. Now the neighbors can watch it. Great. I'm using the hardware switch on my mic today, so things will be a little weird. There we go. Alright, so we shouldn't have too much trouble. Let's jump on in and see how this thing goes. I have no idea if the sounds are going to work today. I've got things set up, but, you know, stuff works. So we are... I lost my overhead. Fantastic. Oh. I went to sleep. Okay. That's not going to work too well. Just give me one shake and it will be right with you. Not showing. There we go. Well, sudden change of plans due to frustration. I think I'm just going to do it. This thing was working and now it's not, and so I am just going to switch over and do some Lego. But we're just live loading things as we speak. Yep, we'll totally take the music down, no problem. All right. Yeah, you guys saw it. Oh well, stuff happens. I'm gonna pretend I don't care, and we'll just roll. And we can switch music because I figured out what the problem was last week, and I think I'm lagging. So just gotta kill a couple things, and I'll be right with you. If I roll my eyes any harder, they're gonna fall right out of my head. Okay, we'll cross our fingers, and a lot of finger crossing is going on at the moment. So let's see, can I? All right, crossing. Here we go. Ooh, bump! I bumped the whole desk. Great. Okay, so what we're still working on is lighting and the whole 9 yards around here. So things are gonna look a little screwball for a while. I'm washed out, or weird colored, or dark, or there's a million different things. And this is, yeah, apparently, even though the camera was feeding to the connection properly, it, for some unknown reason, decided that at the OBS end, it wasn't going to receive. So I had to turn it off and turn it on again and reboot the camera, even though nothing looked wrong at that end, but whatever. Okay, so as you can see, we've got the time engine calendar. Now we have to start with a little bit of a repair, just because on this picture you can see right above my finger the November slot. And when we were putting that section together last time, October, September, August, etc., we're doing good. April, March, yeah, I had a boo-boo. So, in with this boo-boo, I need to figure out how to repair that. And what I think I'm going to do is use some good old-fashioned tape from the inside and try and stick it together. We could make things worse, but in that case, we'll just move on, right? So first, I'm still going to pull out the instructions and stuff anyways, because, never hurts to start at the beginning. Oh, I dropped something on my lap. What's that? Oh, another piece of sandpaper. Okay. Flip. Get those out of the way for the moment. Get on to the repair. So what I think I'm going to do is pull, if I can, gently. Oh, maybe not. Pull the other part out, and then see if I can get the tape in from behind. If not, I may have to tack it from the front, and I really don't want to do that because it's visible, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do. You guys are seeing or hearing a bit of a weirdness. Not only am I on another desk, I accidentally, last week when I was mucking around with OBS, set it into stereo mode, and that's great, except that I oh, come on, please. I got it in stereo mode, which is great, except that my mic is not in front of me. So yeah, that's not so useful. So you're not getting an imbalance. It is really what's going on. So we got the two pieces out. Oh, the other thing about this, I've just flipped my mat over for scale purposes. But if it gets too distracting, let me know and I can reflip it. That's not a problem. We can go back to the solid background. So I'm going to just try and stick this sort of back into the shape it should have been as best I can, and then we'll throw some tape on it. As you can see from the springiness, the fact that they've pre-cut it for flex, that's why I can't glue it, is because then we lose all the flex. And I know it's going to look wonky anyways because of the tape. Because it won't be able to be perfect, but you do what you got to do. There we go. Okay, so I held it too close to me. I just had to see if I could line it up properly, and I could. And then I just promptly put it down and take it apart. Okay, so we're gonna cheat and just use some good old matte finish Scotch tape. I probably should have used gift tape because the gift stuff looks a little better from the outside, that it holds a bit stronger. This stuff is a little on the breaky side, but I thought about using book tape, but that was, well, A, on another floor, and B, more importantly, it's a little bit harder to deal with, and sometimes I have to cut it with a knife, and yeah, not great. Okay, so let's hope this is going to hold enough for us to do what we need to do without being too visible, I guess. Okay, so we've got it on. I do like on this project that there's a little bit of wood burning effect intentionally left. Now I know that's probably from a laser cutter, so it's going to be visible. So I think, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to put a piece on the front side too. A bit disappointed on that, but hey, as I said, you do what you got to do, right? Yeah, starting with taping things together. Oh, so professional, but hey, sometimes. And the to me, the funny irony of this whole thing about which one I broke is the one with my own birthday in it. So yeah. There we go. I mean, I guess one could argue it highlights the month, maybe? But we'll have to see. And we got shadows galore from both sides, so that's going to be an interesting one as well. I discovered that if I put on the overhead, I look backlit, so it really doesn't help. That looks better. It's got most of the flex we need. We'll see if that will hold. And did I have... Yeah, there we go. And the craft knife. Don't try this at home, but I mean, hey, I'm at home, so. I'm gonna bring that up a little more. There we go. Slightly less visible, you know? If I have to fix it a different way later, I probably can. Just being picky. Oh, this one went all country on me. Interesting. I'm not normally a country fan. Reason being, nothing wrong with the genre of the music. It has to do with my memory associations to it. So my mother's side of the family is from a prairie province just east of us called Saskatchewan. And yeah, some people have trouble spelling it, so I wouldn't worry about it. But as with a lot of those groups, they identify with the types of things that were sung about in a lot of the country music, particularly the older country music. So I grew up on hearing country music every time we visited. And so to me, it makes me think of that. And it's not necessarily a bad nostalgia thing or a good nostalgia thing. It's just sort of nostalgia that I just don't really care for. I'm just done with. I like farm stuff, so that part I'm still into. But just the music that goes along with it, not my thing. But it works well enough for this. Apparently, today we're listening to Epidemic Sound's woodworking playlist. Go figure. So basically I was looking for a crafting type of music, and I decided rather than the DIY playlist that I used last week, I'd try the woodworking playlist today. Apparently woodworking people like country music, I guess. I don't know who came up with that, but sure. So now I'm trying to bend it back without another break. That's what happened the first time, was because of the bend. There's a little tiny notch on the piece I'm trying to put it into. And that's where we got hung up. It doesn't want to stay in deep enough. It's not about the bend. We've got the bend. I just can't seem to get it to go in. And if I do it from the other end, that's where... So you can see... Let's see if I can get this a little closer. Yeah, it's dark, but you can see there's a bit of a notch. Oh boy, it's in the dark. On the top of the piece we've got. There's a matching notch on the other side. I'm just going to leave it at that. So, yeah. Fox and I are still working on the lighting. This one, I'm thinking about having another one that comes down. Oh, you didn't see that. Straight overhead. And that will help with a lot of this shadowing. But we'll have to... It's still a work in progress. I better not get older in November, because the calendar's going to not work. Ah. Hoping the back one will hold, because the front one is not in the right spot. If I can get it to stay, we'll just move on, because I'd wanted it in the slot, but I think I was being too picky about that. Camera. I think it's going to sleep, to be honest with you. Which I think I know what I can do about that. So I'm just going to kill face cam for just a moment. I can figure out which one is my face cam. No, not that one. Come on, scroll, please. There we go. All right. Okay, I hope that's going to do the trick. I think what happens, even though it's... Wrong one, my bad. Even though it's connected via wireless to the computer, the actual device is only supposed to have its lock ability for unlocked ability for 5 minutes when it's not on power. I got it on power now, but I'm wondering if when that hits in the 5 minutes, it just stops broadcasting, even though the screen doesn't go to sleep because the app keeps the screen awake. So it's sort of two separate functions in the phone. Okay, so if I can get this to sort of go, then we'll just go with it. I kind of wished I'd had the broken one near a big hole, because that would make life easier, but no, of course not. Come on. Stop being bendy. Well, sort of, maybe. Yeah, I'm not going to fight with this too much longer. We can move on, I think, because it doesn't go into the outside section where they all go together for quite some time. So maybe we can just move on and I'll figure it out, because I thought I had it figured out off camera, but apparently not. Yeah. Ooh. All right, well. I'm going to give it one more shot. But yeah, it is a little embarrassing having starting the day with having broken a piece. But at least that wasn't where we left off last day. Wow. I don't know about you, but this is sleepy music. Hey, Jay! Do-do-do-do-do. So I can hear it. Yay!
Hello?
I can hear that. Now I have tape on my fingers, but that's okay. Somebody said hello to the bot by mistake. The bot said hello to itself. That makes no sense. You're back! Yay! How was the road trip? Long, I gather, which is still funny to me, but that's okay. I apologize. It's funny to me. Oh, wrong side. Shoot. Funny to me because the UK, being far more populous than Canada, has a lot of very windy roads. And Jay went on a long road trip. But if you were to overlay a map of the UK over the map of the province I live in, the whole thing would fit inside. But because we are less populous, we don't have a bazillion windy roads, and we're more prairie open, so our roads can be straighter. And so the equivalent of like their M roads, I think it's the M roads. I'm not sure if it's the M roads or the A roads, but either way, we've got some major highways like that are, yeah, straight, fast, and off you go. So she can get quite a long ways. Like when she went, I don't know if it was north, but it was 7.5 hours worth of drive. But if I was to draw it on a Canadian map in the similar province, like in the Alberta, it wouldn't take us nearly that long because our roads aren't as windy and hilly and whatever. So if one is to look up on the map, and I'll give you the cities, but if one was to look up on the map, my city and where my brother lives, which is about 3 to 3.5 hours away, depending on how fast you drive, sort of deal. And then compare that to where Jay was going, it wouldn't look that far, right? So anyway, okay, so I put the wrong ones in. I was going to try it the other way around. This is the last shot, and then I'll set it aside because I'll have to figure out some other solution. I'm going to start by putting it in the top, and then maybe squish together and see if I can put the bottom feet in. Because that might... Oh, it's bending. Shoot. The top one isn't holding. Okay. Oops. There's gonna be like tape bits everywhere. That's okay. This will, in addition to being my Lego and hands-on desk, off camera, it will actually be my crafting space as well. So when I'm doing a bit of paper craft or whatever, then it will be on this desk. So that's part of why I set it up the way I did is because then I've got the room to work. But I'm very, very glad to see you, Jay. Just welcome, you know? Oh, wait, no. I mean, we're underscoring how breakable this tape is. Okay, let's see if I can do this. On the part that's actually on camera. Okay. This is looking really ugly, but if it does the job, it does the job. And on the bright side, on these clock things, or sorry, the wooden things, though there's some tolerances are pretty tight, and hence the sandpaper, other tolerances are generally pretty flexible, so when you have a piece that rotates in a space, they usually give you a good amount of tolerance there. Okay, so let's start by getting this one in its slot. Okay, that one's in. That's what I was fighting for earlier. Okay, now can I get tail in bendy enough that I can get 2 feet posts in? Come on. Maybe. We're almost there. We're lined up. They just don't want to go. Come on, you punks. Oh, they're left-right shifted. Okay. Come on. I was a little worried about breaking those. Yeah, they're lined up. They just don't want to go through. That's survivable, and I can play with that another time. Even if I don't get it all the way in, it's survivable. So, let's set this piece aside. As I poke at it some more. She says that. Come on. And it's like stuck at the moment, so I'm sure leery to push it too far. Breaking it more. But we got it in, sort of. I'll fix that. I can deal with that. That's fine. So let's put that aside. Okay. So we were working on the little feet sections when we came up with this. Making sure I've got the right parts. C9, blah, blah, blah. Okay. We do need to put those 2 sections together. Ooh, that's not what I thought. All right. So this step, you can see, they want me to grab some pieces and put the 2 together. So twist the ratchet and gently insert it. This thing. So yeah, this is going to be interesting. I guess I do have to fight with this just one more time. Now maybe I don't have my weeding tool handy. Maybe a pen will do in the retraction point. Come on. I'm hoping I've got enough clearance, so maybe that will work. It's stuck on the December one. You. Can we get you in? As we saw, starting from the other end gets me all kinds of breakage, so I have to start from this end. Push. Well, we'll leave it. See if we can see how far we can get with it in its current position. All right, so I need to get A9 and A10. A9 and A10 are these 2. Oops, not that. It's A5. You can jump. It's funny sometimes to me when the Oswin bot thinks we're talking to it and we're totally not. And I kind of sometimes wish, or I've thought about putting the trigger in so that it has to have his name in order for him to respond. But then there's a lot of things he just won't respond to at all, so that doesn't help. A9 and A10 need to be put together. Now when Jay does these, she just flashes right through them because she's really, really good at them. I'm still working on getting used to them. This is the second type of project like this I built in the last year. I don't think I've done one for many years previous, so I'm very rusty at them, but I do like these. The other thing I've done a good number of, usually helping my mom, is 3D puzzles. And those ones are similar, but like the actual puzzle pieces, but they are like a sandwich of a printed cardboard or cardstock piece over top of foam. So with the foam, oops, which way? Okay, with the foam, you have a good bit of flex if you bend something. I mean, it's harder to get it to come back to where it's supposed to be if you have a boo-boo, but it's usually fairly manageable. Did I have to try and put this through? Apparently easier said than done. That's that piece. One side sliding, the other one is just enough out of position. I didn't want to go initially. There we go. Okay. Let's get this one through. And now I have to put this block thing on it. Schematic diagram of ratchet here. Okay. And it's showing things turning, so what am I missing here? Oh. You just have to make sure they get fit together. Okay. Come on. Doesn't say which way it has to be, so twist the ratchet gently and insert it. Well, it's in. Sure. See what it does next. I'm going to set this aside for just a second. We change the page. All right, yep, that's what we came up with, so that's good. Is that a few pieces? Well, I mean, the other part is I bet you don't usually break them, and that's a big time sink, as you guys have seen. All right, so on step, we're starting step 4. So I'm going to probably end up with that one off camera just because it's hard to keep these things visible. Actually, maybe I can do it this way. Poor box is going to have a box with instructions that have all kinds of creases through them. Okay, there we go. Starting step 4. So that means I need a big disc. R. Okay. Where's the other? There's an R and an L on this, so right and a left. But conveniently, it's the plastic in such a way that the right-hand side ended up on the bottom and the left-hand side on the top. Not easily accessible. Okay, so we've got this is R. Okay, and then what's we got? These, please. C. Okay. We need little pieces out of C. We need a C2. Okay, one of these. Grab. Everyone wants to come up. There we go. C2. 22 C3s. Okay, that's these things down here. 1. Oops, come on. 1. 2. There we go. 2 of those pins. And... oh, interesting. They claim there's an order in how you're supposed to put them in. Oh, sorry. C3 times 4. Okay. I should read the instructions. They just looked odd in the picture, but that's just the angle that they drew it at. Okay. 4 of those. And then another C2 on the other side. Looking left to right here. And then I have to peel that paper stuff off. Which we did have a bit of a problem with last week. So, cut my nails, which means it's going to be even more interesting. Where are we here? I'm not even watching a clock, so, oh, whoops. On that note. I just put my watch into theater mode, which reminds me, last night, our family, even though it was Mother's Day, we had a Christmas gift to deal with. We had a gift from Fantastic Sherlock Fox's, I don't know, boss, whatever. And he had given us, the manager I suppose, but he had given us a set of seat tickets to a show called The Champions of Magic. Basically, it's a traveling magic show. And so we got to go out to the big auditorium in our city and go to can't watch this thing. So that was kind of fun, sitting in the theater. I may have mentioned this on stream before, but my father actually was a smaller magician, a smaller time magician. He did birthday parties and company shows and stuff. So I've done some of the stage things, like quite literally been in them. Okay, and I know the concepts of how the majority of it is done, partly because also one of our family friends happened to be one of the most in the circle, one of the most famous people in terms of building illusions or people who do stage magic. So my father's claim to fame was, not his magic per se, but that he became a member of the Magic Castle years ago, and you have to audition to get in. So it's not just a resume or whatever. It's quite literally you have to basically show your chops. And so he got in, but also his hobby aside from magic was doing Super 8 films. So for those of you that are familiar with that, it's the 8mm film cameras, like instead of video. That was his thing. And so he's filmed quite a number of the great ones in magic, particularly the older set. So archivist, I guess you could say, wasn't intentional at the time, but he got permission to do so, and that was his thing. And so we knew a lot of them, and I guess building the illusions in Canada got a bunch of recognition. So he also, because of these things, he would host parties at our house with, like, as I was growing up, he'd host parties with some of these local magicians coming over, and the builder and so on and so forth. So I've actually met some of the people that were referenced in last night's show. I mean, I was quite young, but they would still let me sit down and talk to them, which is pretty cool. And back in the day, I honestly thought I was going to do magic. I mean, knowing that it wasn't financially lucrative. It's just not a thing. But I never really put the focus into it because, weirdly enough, I had enough other friends around me who were familiar with it that, school friends and stuff that were also into it, that I just didn't. I don't know. Nobody was interested, right? And if there's nobody who wants to cooperate and go, wow, then you're not going to find yourself super interested long term enough to put in the hours and hours and hours and hours of practice. I don't know why my father did for himself. It does not make sense to me, but yeah, sure, it did. It looks like the instructions are saying 1 and 2 in terms of order of operation, so it seems to think I should put the pegs in plastic first. Let's try that. And it seems to be kitty corner this time, so on an angle. But anyways, so we went last night and I was having a blast watching it. But one of the things that's been reminded to me in the last few months is some people don't like what they would consider spoilers. Not in the what's going to happen next type of spoiler, but in the how it's done spoiler, which is fine. That's cool. Or the ooh wow exclamations. But people don't like that. Even at large shows where that's kind of the point, but that's a whole different argument. So I kind of, I guess you'd say, metaphorically was sitting on my hands and just smiling and nodding at some things and stuff. And I was really glad that I didn't end up on camera. So one of the ways they made it interesting was they had a shoulder-mounted cam, not really mounted, but basically like a TV video person following around some of the presenters throughout the audience aisles. And so there'd be people who'd be asked to help out and so on and so forth. Thankfully, we weren't, but also with the angles, we did not end up in the shot, which I'm quite glad about, just because I think my nods and smiles would have been a little bit weirdly out of place, just because I knew it was that whole I know something you don't know kind of thing, or I know something that you don't know about me. So I was quite interested in that. And they were going on explaining things and so on. Not explaining things, but like in one part they were telling a story about these people who I had met. And it's kind of like, yep, that's exactly the way that guy would have behaved, or that's exactly, etc., etc. Because the people that they were talking about unfortunately had passed. So it was kind of an interesting, like an unusual situation. And also, the boss had paid for tickets for the whole family. So I kept shooting side glances at my daughter and my son just to see what they were thinking. Let's see about like how they were reacting. It was hard to tell on both of them. My daughter was very much paying attention. And so was my son, but in different ways. And so it was hard to tell what they were really thinking. Turns out, in the end, when we discussed it after the show was over, my daughter and son both, I think we'd say, enjoyed it to a different extent. My daughter wants to know how some of the tricks are done, and my son is uncomfortable with the whole thing. It's a logical thing. So for him, he's not sure if he's ever going to want to see another show again, because he's very logical and didn't like the fact that magic stuff does not, or like illusionism, does not follow physics, right? Reality. But I asked him outright, okay, so if you knew how it was done, would you still be able to appreciate the artistry of people doing it? Sort of like the way I described it after that, although Fantastic Sherlock Fox was not on board, is kind of like, I guess, how, it's a tough one because this is a weird thing, but let's say dancing. If you knew how to do a particular set of steps, would you still be able to appreciate people who do them really, really polished and maybe faster or more with more flair or whatever? Is that something that one would still appreciate? Or if you knew how to paint, right, and you could theoretically do the same sort of thing, would you still appreciate the art of another painter? Particularly if it's one who's, professional and skilled and whatever. And my son's response was no, he could not. That would not work for him. So he's very unsettled by not knowing how it works, but does not want to know how it works because it would ruin the magic part of it. So therefore, he's not really sure if he ever wants to see another show like that. Whereas my daughter said, heck yeah. She totally would. But also, she was kind of had that whole, ooh, mom's cool thing, which I'm not sure if I agree with, but when it came to, I'd said, yeah, some of these things like I'm trying not to use a business industry term just because nobody would understand it. But she was impressed when I had said stuff like, yeah, the sawing a woman in half. I have not done it, and it's one of those, like, was one of my bucket list items at one point. It's not now, but it was at one point, to be involved in that. And based on some of the stage equipment they were using, there were other spots where I was looking at it going, okay, I know 2 or 3 different illusions that would use that same layout. Which one are they trying to do? And so I was guessing a little bit in my head, of course. That's the part I was not sharing with the kids because definitely don't want to ruin their day. So yeah, and I was wrong in a lot of cases, which was impressive to me. But I mean, once they started the illusion and I figured out, oh yeah, okay, they're not doing X, they're doing Y. Now, interestingly enough, the way the pins were done in the previous step looks like there's designed to be a bit of a gap between the disc and the plastic, but when they draw it coming up against the piece below. There's no gap shown, but they haven't done anything to flip the piece, so I'm not really sure if that's supposed to be the way it is. But there's nowhere for the cross parts of the pins to go, so I don't know what they were talking about. And it doesn't fit, like the disc on the other side won't fit on if I don't put the pin part in the middle. I don't know. I'm gonna go with it. Okay, so we've got that on. They're calling this, okay, so the chunk underneath was E, they're calling the disc part, the whole thing with the thing on it, I guess now it becomes F. Now we're at step 5. Now we're putting together a whole center section. Alright, so let's set this aside. A lot more parts needed. Oh, and we've got glue involved. Okay, so if we're doing glue, we may need to consider giving it some time to dry. So I can do up the gluing part, and then maybe set up some of the other parts, but then when we have to attach the numbers to the outside, we may have to switch to a game instead, but we'll see how timings go. I don't know how fast the glue is going to set up. It looks a little goopy. Okay, so let's get the parts out and we'll see what we can do. Yeah. Oh, ads will be starting in 2 minutes. Okay. The ads are supposed to last three minutes. So with that, we could throw on a Words with Friends game, but we'll see how we do with that. F and E. E is the glue. 0 to 9. Maybe. I'm trying to find all the parts, and we've punched enough out of the boards that they're now sliding around. Oh, I see. Okay. Gotcha. So they've got some darker numbers on some lighter backs. So there's E. Assuming this is... Okay. And they've also pre-etched here so that we know how to line them up. It helps get everything straight. Okay, I got it. Let's punch these out. Part of what had happened last week where we couldn't hear the bot had to do with Windows updates. Love it. So they didn't do anything more than change everything to point to the default sound. Which, I mean, that wouldn't necessarily be a problem if the default sound for the app itself hadn't been changed to some channel that OBS isn't even listening to. That's not going to help, you know? We'll get the glue set, and then we'll see where we go with that. There's no verbal or written direction here in terms of how long it takes to dry. I'm hoping we'll get enough chance to put these together. That. 1, 0. We may have a little bit of sanding to clean up some of these parts as well. Now, for Mother's Day, actually, I did receive more Lego. So that is in the wings now. After this clock, though, if I can get a setup looking half decent, we will be doing a Smeagol and Deagle gift with purchase, but I'm not happy with the setup totally. This is kind of an interim thing. Fantastic Sherlock Fox and I were going to talk about it this weekend. After coming back from group camp, I keep saying, but it's actually school camp. Camp, you know. I volunteered for my daughter She Queen's school camp, and so after coming back from that, not only was I feeling weird, like I was shifted in the week because I'm used to going to scout camps on weekends rather than during the week. I also was burnt out in the headspace sense, so I put off the discussion and thought, it'll be a quick thing, we'll just chit-chat about it tomorrow and then take action later. And the tomorrow, which was yesterday, didn't actually end up working out because I ate too much at the restaurant, because it was an all-you-can-eat restaurant we went to last night. One of those Brazilian, I don't know what the word is. I want to say churrascarias, but it's not. That's not the right word at all. I think I made that one up. But anyways, it was a Brazilian steakhouse thing where they bring you the meat on a skewer, and so it was a nonstop meat until you're full sort of deal. And so I ate too much, which gave me a horrid stomach ache. And then all the lack of sleep from camp decided to catch up with me, so I had to go to bed early, which meant that didn't get to chat about things as I'd originally planned. Ads. Okay. Let's give you guys one round, and then we'll come back. Oops. We're back, and it still works. For now. All right. What took a while was I had to figure out how to get the little piece of seal out of the glue. Okay. So we're at the glue stage, and hopefully this stuff will cooperate. I don't know. It's having trouble coming out the nozzle. And it's solid. Okay, so glue would say that, oh, there we go. It's coming slowly. I'm going to say it's non-viable, but it's probably not. So let's see, we just need a little bit on here. We're getting... I don't like this glue. I think it's been sitting for more than a year. Okay, so I have a backup plan. I have a special glue stick, so just gonna kill the camera for just a shake, and we'll see if we can be back, right? Maybe. I always seem to have these things. Okay, there we go. Grabbing glue. All right. It turned out to be, it was in it was in the drawer right beside me. Okay, now I've got glue on a towel, that's great. So what I'm gonna do is I've got this, it's an extra strong, here, let's see if we can get that. Extra strong embellishment glue stick, and for most scrapbooking purposes. So you can do, what's it say here? It says, instructions, right? For plastic, fabric, felt, light metals, cardboard, and photos. So I can always glue these things on again later if they happen to pop off, but I'm going to start with that because this stuff bonds permanently, and it will dry enough that we don't have to switch to the game. So that's a bonus too. Right? So I'm just going to give these a smack on glue. Yep. Glue sticks are weird. I mean, they're a great product, but they act strange at times. Oops, that's far too much glue. I'll try on the next one, I'll try gobbing it on the main base, and then we'll stick this to it rather than putting on the number. But kind of got already into it here, so get this chunk clear. There we are. And line her up and go. There we go. Yeah, that seems to stick fairly well. We'll go with that. All right. Do it this way. Because it dries clear, I can also peel it off or scrape it off after the fact if I need to. I think this will be a little bit better than that messy liquid glue. I mean, this is kind of messy too, but and I can put that gob over there. We'll just stick the number on top. Oops. There we go. That actually works well. All right. Scrapbooking glue it is. Kind of a toss-up whether it's better to put it on the number or better to put it on the base. Next bit. A lot of people talk about putting having a second computer for OBS when you're doing second station, you know, and I've thought about that. The one I've got sitting right here with me is not powerful enough. What it's actually doing right now is it's just the Microsoft Surface, and it's remoted into my main computer, which is playing music over my shoulder. So you guys will have to tell me what you think about the music level, because once again, I've got my monitor level different than what you guys are hearing. I'm glad that they look nice. The contrast is cool. The other thing about this one, I've used it in the past in a way that if it gets a little gobby on the spot outside the numbers, it does dissolve really nicely with a little bit of a Q-tip and acetone. So I can grab out any globs after the fact if we need to, but it stays nicely and speeds a lot of stuff up. That's the whole thing. There we go. Not quite straight. But it was in last night's show. They referenced a couple of magicians, and for those of you in the right age group, it probably has seen on television and stuff. They had the David Copperfield back in the day, right? Which I find funny. I don't know if I'm pretty sure it's not his real name, but I can't remember off the top of my head what it really is. He generally doesn't use it anymore. But he was the guy that was a magician, and then after years later, one of the things he hit the news for was that he was dating Claudia Schiffer, the model, I suppose. actress. I don't know. I can't remember what she did because she was never one of my favorite people. But he was dating her, and he's the guy who supposedly was famous for, walking through the Great Wall of China, disappearing one of the original cars of the Orient Express. What else is he? Supposedly making the Statue of Liberty vanish, that kind of jazz. TV magician kind of guy. Could do close-up stuff as well, but that was his big thing. And then another one that they were referring to a lot was Siegfried and Roy. So they were a pair of German magicians. Oh, let me correct that. I don't remember if they were German or Austrian. Big difference, but in any case. And they were the ones who were famous for working with white tigers. So those guys were referenced as well. And at one point, the show magicians did a sort of a big finale act number where they were referencing Siegfried and Roy, and so they put on costumes like them. But one of the things I thought was funny was that Siegfried was always famous for having the front of his costume really open, displaying his chest. And so I leaned over to my daughter and said, "That guy's just not hairy enough." And she looked at me kind of funny, because it didn't occur to me at that point. Yeah, I don't actually know if we've ever shown them Siegfried and Roy. She might be interested to see it, but of course, given what I said earlier about my son and his unsettledness, he wouldn't be. But they were also referencing a couple other people that you guys may have seen more recently doing television magic, magic on television with them, I guess. They weren't the presenters. But they were referencing Penn and Teller. I'm trying to remember what Teller's first name is. His Penn's first name is Penn Jillette, like the razor. But Teller is the other guy's last name. I'm trying to remember what his first name is. Anyway, irrelevant. But the point is that it kept referencing these guys all the way through when the names came up and whatever. And it was just kind of fun to hear some of these big names tossed around that when I was a kid, like as in under 15, we would see these guys on TV, but then they had a montage that came up, and I couldn't resist leaning over to my daughter and telling her, yeah, there was one extra guy in that montage, and that was a Canadian gentleman who'd moved down to the US by the name of Doug Henning. And so he showed up in the 70s, I think it was, and 80s. He did a few television specials and stuff like that, and he was the sort of the television long-haired hippie guy. And so he popped up in there a little bit. But they didn't actually reference him, and I think it just could be a time thing. But it was just sort of funny to me. Now, unfortunately, Doug Henning has passed, even though he would not have been old enough to do so. And it's just that, I don't know whether he had a heart attack or whatever. Some people would consider it ironic, but that's neither here or there at the moment. He got into politics and was pretty weird, like hippie in the rather literal sense, including all the fun stuff involved with that. So he became the leader of a group that in Canada, the party, they call themselves the Natural Law Party. And while they actually did have some very sensible political views in most places, they also had some really wacky, like totally idiotic and out there views too. So yeah, that didn't go over very well. Doug Henning is the one that's become a meme about magic with the long hair and the hand waving stuff, like the unicorn sparkly magic thing. So yeah, it's kind of fun. But not everything they did last night was magic. I thought that was kind of cool. They had one escape routine that was pretty good. I mean, the guy legit has to escape from a straitjacket, right, in under a minute. And there's a consequence to it if he doesn't, right? As all things do. This was like the jaws of death or some such thing. But anyway, he pulled it off. However, I'm firmly convinced that there's a bit of a rigged situation there, just in terms of the timer and the safety of the whole factor, because it's way too easy to come up with about 6 or 7 different theories of how they dealt with it to improve safety. If there really was an actual risk, then the guy just wouldn't do it. because you know, once you get injured once, you can't really repeat. So, not worth it. And it's funny because you know, it's like, for the first time ever, we're going to. It's like, yeah, it's not your first time. Trust me. And it was actually kind of amusing too, because they had a reference to a pair of Harry Houdini handcuffs. And if you aren't familiar with Harry Houdini, do look him up on the web. He was an early 20th century magician and escape artist. Escape artist was his big thing. He's famous for a few other things too, but escape is his really big thing. Handcuffs and stuff. And he would do a lot of public display, big escapes, you know, from a crane over top of a crowd of thousands of people and yada yada, that kind of goofy stuff. Or from a milk can. So that was kind of a more interesting one of his. But anyway, last night I was just talking about handcuffs, and they made a bit of a goofy joke out of it and stuff. But my daughter leans over and goes, "Are those real? Are those the real handcuffs?" Because they're talking about his stuff being auctioned, and this was loaned from a buyer, yada yada, something fancy. And I said, truth be told, probably not, but I know who I could ask. And that's the other thing, is one of our local magicians in our city happens to be a published expert on Harry Houdini. The guy's local guy's actual occupation is he's a locksmith, but he also is a magician who aside from specializing in Harry Houdini, he's a specialist in magic history and escapism. So yeah, he doesn't do escapes. He's decided that was dumb years ago, but he is a definite specialist in that. So I thought that was kind of cool. She is, really? And I think maybe that was part of what I got a bigger kick out of. I mean, is my daughter's super interested, but also she was kind of going, you know this person? You know that? And it's like, yeah, mom actually knows a thing or two. And I think for her, I was temporarily cool, which is always awesome in my mind. Okay, last one. And then we can actually start assembling. Yay! I actually had to look up what one of these little logos meant because I'd forgotten. There's a little logo in the instruction that looks like a gear on a darker background. And I would have thought, okay, well, it's got something to do with moving parts. No, I looked it up. It turned out it actually has to do with just use the printed side this way. Oh, okay. Which kind of makes sense, because if they have little wood burning markings to make everything match, well then yeah, you're going to want the printed side on that one. They call it printed, but it's not really. It's slightly burnt, but that's on purpose. But yeah, when we left the place, we were headed out to Mother's Day dinner, and my husband says, "Are you hungry?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I think so." But at that time, all I could smell in my mind was gasoline and gunpowder. Well, not gunpowder. Yeah, I guess flash powder. So yeah, gunpowder, but fine, so they wouldn't actually do an explosion. And they couldn't smell it, but it was because of the escape. They'd done something where it was a rope soaked in gasoline, and it really was gasoline. Because I over the years I got used to being able to smell the difference between gasoline and lighter fluid, and this one was definitely gasoline. And they also had some torches that they used to light a flame for one of their other illusions, and that one was gasoline as well. There's a particular scent. It smells like your lawnmower, really, if you've got a gas-powered mower. Okay, so we've got these pieces, and I need the next set over here. We've got C4, C5, little C6 pins, and they're going to become a unit where we're going to put the numbers on. C5 is this big one that keeps popping out of the board, so I'm kind of glad to get that going. And C4 is this one, the other cog piece. Or ratchet, I mean. Ooh, not that one. Okay. And what do we need? 2 or 4 C6 pins. Okay. These look like C6 plus, but I don't see any others. Oh, there's some C6s, okay. There's C6s without a plus on them. I'm hoping the plus means extra, but I'm just trying to match up by using ones that appear labeled exactly as neat. I think the plus actually looks longer, so maybe that's what that's all about. So I'm very thankful that we got the tickets. It's not something I would have thought of to purchase, because now I understand why. My kids, they'd seen, I showed them a musical, I think it was, because I like musicals. I showed them a musical that had Doug Henning doing a whole bunch of illusions in it. They weren't too thrilled. And then I think I've showed them one Doug Henning magic show all the way through, but I'm not sure if I did. I may not have, but anyways, it was one of his like TV programs. And so I'm glad the boss had purchased the tickets for this, just because I wouldn't have thought to buy them. It's something that would have gone right over my head. But it turned out because my parents celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary this year. Yay! And they we got them a gift. Yes, yeah, that's the short of it. So we got them a gift of 2 more seats to this presentation, this show, but they've got them tonight where we went last night. So I think that they'll have a good time. I don't know if my dad will be overly impressed, because I saw how stuff was done, clearly. I mean, I knew it, so I was kind of looking for it. So they flashed a couple oopsies in a couple spots, but nothing that's really gonna stick with anybody. So, but I think he'll have a good time, and he'll enjoy the references to history. And it's the kind of thing that the presenters can never guarantee that what they say isn't going to go and be verified by someone who watched the show. So they were telling a story about the creation of the Magic Castle and who started it and so on. And the funny part was, the lady telling the story is the granddaughter of the people who started the Magic Castle. And the thing about that is that's so verifiable. I mean, either that or she just has really good luck looking like them. But she used a poster that because her grandparents used to travel as a family magic act. And I had actually seen that poster before, which was kind of cool. Little touches like that I think my father will really enjoy. And the number one key is, as one of the quotes was referring to, basically, magic is awesome when you can just entertain people. That's the whole point of it, is to entertain. But to entertain people with potentially even nothing more than what you carry around in your pockets. And it doesn't even have to be pick a card or whatever. It can be coins and stuff. And I don't have any skill to be able to show you stuff now, or ever. But it's one of those things that I kind of wish I did. I've done a few videos. Maybe I'll throw them up on Discord. People see, but I mean, it's the stuff I'm doing is not the stage stuff, so there's no comparison there. Okay, so this one, they're using 0, and it looks like they've got little notches on the ends of these boards. They're going to fit into these little bone-shaped bits on the ends. Fitting into the bone-shaped bits on these ends, and then the next board moves over. Now we're restarting here. C5. So we want 0 up here. I didn't pay much attention to that on the last section with the what do you call it? With the months. And I maybe should have, but it doesn't seem critical, so we'll cross our fingers. And now we've got C7, which appears to be another bone-shaped piece, and it's going to fit on the other side of it. C7, as with C5, is repeatedly popping out of the wood piece, so I had to figure out where it had fallen to. Okay, but C7, which is going to fit on the other side of these little bone notches. Or, yeah. Can I hold? Okay. Then we've got a section like this. Now I wonder, yeah, so now we have to continue our way around to the outside. Not folding straight bugs me. Kind of funny. My daughter and I are very, very different people in a lot of ways, but sometimes we share certain things in common. Now, I get a little fussy about her folding skills because she just doesn't bother at times. But other times, the interests we share can be similar. So, for example, I like the folding thing. I like origami. And so she likes origami. And I don't know who started it, as in, like, did she pick it up and enjoy it because I showed her some a while back, or did she pick it up on her own? I suspect the latter. I think she picked it up on her own, but it's just interesting that it's yet another interest that we both share, even though I don't do a whole lot of it. I like complicated origami. Fantastic Sherlock Fox can vouch. I used to have a calendar at one of my previous jobs that he'd given me, or somebody in my family had given me, that had a page a day origami thing designed so that you fold it from the previous day's calendar page. So I had my office desk at a tech support company covered, absolutely covered in little origami builds. And some of them were pinned up on a cork board beside me and all kinds of stuff. So we had those all over the place. But everybody, we got to the point where my fellow tech support people would want to, like, I'd build the origami for the day, then they'd want to have me pass it around so they could have a look at it close up, which was kind of cool. And the very rare time I didn't quite understand what a step was getting to, I could crowdsource the sort of ideas, going, oh, what are you supposed to do? 0, 1, 2, 3. I keep being worried I'm going to put these on upside down. To some extent, I think practicing and learning magic is somewhat like getting good at origami, in that, I mean, you don't have to worry about hidden misdirection and all that sort of stuff, but in terms of control, finger control, which is part of why I don't do it anymore, is when I get excited, I shake. It's not about, well, not yet about medical issues, but excitement and nerves will cause a problem, and that can be problematic for control, like finer control, when you're wanting to do something. So let's say I was trying to do coin manipulation, or, coin tricks, right? Where you, or roll them in between your fingers or whatever. If I get nervous about it, I'm going to drop them. And also, Canadian coins, weirdly enough, have the size we usually use in magic is very much an American $50, which is nice and big. In Canada, younger people often, like kids, often practice loonies, which works pretty well. So it's our $1 coin. But the size is closer to our Canadian $2 coin. The problem with the $2 coin, though, is they're weighted differently. And so it can be a little bit problematic to do what you want to do because of the weighting. Sounds funny, but true. The other part is the difficulty level gets ramped up when you're using a two-tone coin. So that it starts to matter, like people start to notice different pieces, which way's up or whatever. Okay, so we have this chunk, and now they're not laming the chunk, which is good because they're just going to set it right on to the piece we already had, which we keep showing it vertically, as in like set up. Oops, it slipped. Okay, come on, you. The cog at the other end has slipped, so not wanting to rotate. Come here. There we go, better. I'm just going to lay it down. I think it's going to be easier. You guys can see it fairly well. So then this section here is going to go on the little cog we had from before, or the slot. Yeah. There we go. That'll rotate nicely. 890. Alright, and then I keep showing January, December, November, and I'm kind of wondering if I should have that. March, April. Okay, let's go. Oh, nice. I like the ratchet mechanism. September, October, November. What I'm seeing, December centered? Okay. December centered. Okay. Yeah, it looks like this November I could probably leave it and we're fine because it's not pressing out in weird ways. I think we're okay. Alright. Now we have another sandwich to make, which is one through the centered disc. CDE. Oh. F1. It looks like it would be one of those plastic ones, but it doesn't have, it didn't need to because there's got a lot of stuff going on. Okay, F1, we have F2, the little ones, times 4, yep. Come on. Pushing back. Come on. These are not easy to get out. Oh. They're not me. Gurgle. 2 C9s, okay. Down. Okay. C9s are these cogs. This one. But they want both of the printed sides will be facing us. So, step 1, they want these pieces put in. They go. They've cut them in such a way that it looks like they're going to fit right in the slot. So I'm hoping that's how these work. Whereas previously the holes on the other one were not little rectangle slots, they were circles so that the T-shapes couldn't fit in. But we'll find out whether or not that was a good thing or a bad thing.
Thank you for the raid Minneapolis_Mel, and welcome to your 20 viewers too.
You probably got that in stereo because I didn't reach up to meet the mic fast enough. So it's possible that you may not have got it at all because the direction that we're dealing with is a little different. I'm just going to rotate this mic just a bit, so you're going to hear some clunkiness. There we go. Hopefully that will not pick up quite as much of the other stuff. Hello! So welcome on in, Raiders. Welcome, welcome. Awesome to see you guys. And welcome back to the Double Parkers. Hello, Yellow. Hello, Mel. Thank you ever so much for the raid. I really appreciate that. Hey, Wolfen. Good to see you. Oops.
Hello.
I'm working on a wooden clock. Hello. Hello. Wooden clock in lieu of Lego today. No, sorry, I keep calling it a clock. It's not. It's a time calendar, as they call it. Because the clock itself actually is a real watch, like a pocket watch that just goes on the side, and they do give it to you. It's just we are not where we need it. And last time where we left off, I had broken a piece, so we got a little delayed in how we were doing this because of the some tech issues and trying to deal with the repairs. Lighting is still a work in progress, so we've got some shadowing stuff going on. Need to work on that. We'll get there. Okay, so we've got pins, and I'm going on about magic today. Yeah, that's my theme of topic. Wow. Theme of ramble is magic, as in illusions and such. So, and every time I do that type of exposure for a while, as in exposure to magic stuff, my brain goes, I should get back into it. And it lasts for like 3 weeks, and then I get back out again. But I don't own a whole lot in the way of magic props because when I lived at home, I shared with my parents. My mom, technically, she said, yeah, you can have all my stuff because she got into it a little bit and had some slightly different sizes of equipment to work with. But I didn't take any of it when I moved out because I wasn't really into it at the time, and also it was debatable whether or not my dad actually thought I owned it or not, so I wasn't going to worry about it. But a few years ago, they gave my son a very, very nice magic kit to practice. And then, as those of you that have been hanging out in stream already would know, he's not into it, and is very unlikely to ever be into it. So I bet you, if I wanted to borrow it from me, I probably could. Although, given my daughter's interest yesterday, it's possible she may want it instead, in which case she gets it first. I'm trying to put this cog onto these pins, but it just seems to keep pushing the pins right out, so I might... I keep it on camera. Okay, so how was your work on Hogsmeade? Fox says, because he's right on top of that, and I was not. Oops. Making sure I didn't miss anybody coming in. Yep, there we go. So it was patchy. You couldn't make decisions. Geez, that sounds familiar. I have trouble with decisions all the time. Even today, right up to 2 minutes after stream should have started, I was still not sure whether I was going to do this or do Minecraft or whatever. And these pins are popping out, so I'm going to do it the other way around. They say step 1 was to put them in, but I think I'm going to have better luck putting them in here first. These are stiff, and the other spots are not. Here we go. So right up to stream, I didn't know. And then when I initially started having some tech problems, I was going to go to stream, or sorry, go back and just game, because I was frustrated. And then, of course, everything suddenly started to work. So I came back, and here we are. I've got some of the whys, but then I'm hoping it's a moot point fairly soon because I'm going to be switching out the camera that I had problems with. So we'll see. It's not because of the problems, it's that hopefully going to be switching out to an even better camera that has its own, I think it might have its own light, I'm not sure, but I know it has a slot so I can put the lights like literally overhead, and we'll see if one straight down overhead does the trick for what we need, in which case I'll put another one in behind my webcam and lighten up the whole room, so that'll help. Okay, so now we've got that one in. Let's hope I can get them back into the rectangular slots here. That'd be negatory, man. There's one. Now I see why they did it the other way, but I'm not sure I can fix that to make it work for both. I can get this to rock. Most of it. There we go. Finally. Okay. Gonna lurk and find some lunch. Sure, no problem. Drop in, drop out as necessary. That's fine. Faye says, you'll have to let me know what you have for lunch, Mel. I'm just about to eat dinner. Ooh, what's for dinner? Yum. Oh. Yeah, yesterday, I will admit, I bogarted the conversation a lot. Now, I got away with it because it was Mother's Day, but I don't think the kids will want to discuss magic today. I'm sort of getting out of my system. Sorry, apologies to you guys for being guinea pigs for that. But, yeah. There we go. This, come on. Oh, wait a minute. It wants... Yeah. I have to put them the same way so that the teeth go the same way. You can't deal with it when you're ratchet going opposite directions. Which makes it easy for me for building. Just about sandwiched together. Good. Some of these are very, fiddly to put together, but once you get them in, they hold nicely. I'm still eyeing the other section going, I don't know. Korean style, sticky chili chicken and rice. I have no idea what that is. It sounds awesome. Oswin, you're not paying any attention. Still working at trying to figure out how to get conversation into Oswin. Looking at seeing whether or not there's a way I can try and timely feed it a version of the text to speech, speech to text, closed captioning type of thing, but unfortunately it does not make a whole lot of sense. Okay, we are on this one on the left here. So now we have to take this chunk. It says twist the ratchet and gently insert it. So we have to make sure that it fits into the central section. I'm just going to bring this chunk back. The schematic diagram, a ratchet here. Which direction? Oh, okay. So they're trying to show us that I have it look like it's backwards. But it's not really. It's the same on both sides. So now I can sandwich this one on top. But yeah, if you're into magic, it's or if you're interested in magic, it's kind of fun. Like, here's part of the thing. I have for years, outside of magic itself, separate, totally separate from that, been into, yeah, this is gonna work, into the practical effects. So special effects when it comes to television and movies and such. I very much enjoy the practical effects. I'm just watching where they've got this top edge here is a little bit, it's got some teeth and stuff and some little tiny slots. I'm just trying to see if I can get it. It looks like they have things set to be lined up in a certain way, so I just want to make sure I'm getting that. Did I miss a section? missed a step. Oh no, I didn't. Okay, sorry. Looking at it going, I don't have a wood piece that does that. It's because I was ignoring the plastic one. So that is lined up with this. Okay, good. That's what they're looking for. All right. They have to make sure it moves smoothly in this whole section in the middle, and I don't see a problem with it, so we're fine. Yeah. It's ratcheting up quite nicely. 8. We're back where we started. All right. 0. Sure. Just because it looks like the picture. All right. So now, this whole chunk, including this piece, they're calling it G. So every time we add a piece to it, they rename it. This chunk is G now. I don't know why, but sure. Now we're on to step 7 here. Another one of those boards, so more C's. Yay. C. Cut the C section. But as you can see, no good pun intended. Not only is D labeled differently, but there's no room for it, so I have to find that. Things are falling out all over the place. So this piece, we're not ready for yet, but this piece, in this little bag, that's the pocket watch of the clock part. It looks like it's a wind-up variety, because they've got a little plastic in the winder, just so that we don't, if we can set the time or whatever, but we don't actually start it running, so that the battery doesn't run out. Which I don't see. I don't see a spot for a tool. We might be able to get it in the side. Yeah. But I have a suspicion that once the battery dies on this thing, it's toast. I mean, it's not meant to be the major focus. The major focus is all the parts, right? So the parts are where we're going. So we need D2. Yeah, we're 5 minutes out. So let's see if we can get a start on this piece, and then we'll let her go. There we go. We'll see where we're at. I'll probably finish through this step. I might put the C away, so we need more of those C6 pins. I've got there. And honestly, Mel's crew had a great time watching them working on Hogsmeade. I will be doing Minecraft on Wednesday and Thursday, and for those of you unaware, please correct me if I'm wrong, mods. I think it's stream weekend this weekend. I had it all completely wrong in my head and was out by a week, so I had to alter my comments and postings and dates in my calendar and stuff. Somehow I was thinking it was this weekend, like this past weekend. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I do 1. Yet another ratchet. So, I think it's this weekend. I am up this weekend on 9 to 11 Eastern, I believe. I'm in Mountain Time, so getting it in the Eastern Time zone confuses me sometimes. Yeah, so I'm on Saturday for that. And I believe Fantastic Show Up Box is as well. Oops, this is crooked. There we go. So you've got both of us. But I will be doing this weekend. I believe they tend to reset the hardcore servers for the great in time for stream weekend. So I will be sucking it up and putting my big girl pants back on and trying to do another run at hardcore. Every time I do it, I try to tell myself that I'm not going to be as big a chicken as I was before. We'll see. This time also, my rule for myself is no living in a village, which means that iron is going to be much harder to come by. We'll actually have to mine for it, or cave for it, or something, just because you need it. It's one of those critical things. Oh, because they want this is printed, which basically is just the scarred side in. Okay. 2D1. So yeah, that's my plan for the weekend. which means, of course, that because hardcore is only a month, and I won't do it every month, but that means that as of next week, if I survive the weekend, which I'm hoping to, then, or on Saturday, then I will be taking the break just to do a bit of hardcore till we pick the bucket or it gets reset again. And yeah, that's it. I don't know if I'm going to do the dragon this time. Those dragon fights are something that I don't particularly enjoy, to be honest with you. It's not that I'm not good at it or anything, it's just I don't really enjoy them. So why do the stuff you don't enjoy? I can hear Fox over my head getting his shoes on. So he's going to head out and go for a walk and be mobile for a bit, which is cool. One of the things I like about Twitch's mobile app is while it's not perfect for modding and stuff, it's actually gotten a lot better than when I first started using it years ago, so much nicer. Okay, so we've got this one done. And I said that was where I was going to halt it. Let's see what we've got coming up. Oh, more numbers. Okay, so because of the additional numbers part, I think this is probably a good place to call it, so we don't have to worry about more gluing and stuff on stream. Yeah, but because we now know that we can use the embellishment glue stick right off the bat, then we can get that stuff going next week. All right, so this one is not asking us to put it on the other thing because I'm fairly certain, like we did before. Yeah, there we go. So down here, we're going to have a second set of numbers, which then goes on another section to get double wide before it goes on to the base section. So got some things to do. All right, well, then that's where we shall call it then. Let's see if we can figure out who to raid. I think he said that Jade was up. So being as we tend to raid Jade on Mondays, I think that works well. And let's get that raid started. So let's see, /raid Mara. Is it? It's 2 L's. Jade. Oh, that's not gonna work. I spelled it wrong. No problem, Jay. I'm really glad you were able to make it. And thank you very, very, very much to everybody who came in. Let's get this raid started, then I'll say my proper thank yous to everybody. Let's hope this works.
Mischief managed.
All right. So, as I said, thank you to everybody that came on through today and sat with us through the hiccups we had. If you have time, either DM me directly or get hold of me some other way, and just give me a little feedback on what you thought of today's stream or the part of it that you saw. Just a general, I guess, review of how it went and the lighting and the audio and the whatever, just so that we can have a bit more of a solid feel for what we're looking at for this weekend. And we had some great conversation from everybody, and we saw them all scroll by there. As the stream probably showed, I will be up next on Wednesday, and on Wednesday it'll be modded. We're going to be heading back to the Nether in the Britannia world, so the vanilla +++++. And thanks very much to Mel for the raid, to Jay and Fantastic Sherlock Fox for being our moderators today. And we had a good conversation from Mel, Yellow, Wolfen, and we're off to see Maribel Jade. So, hold on to your seats. If you like emotes, they are somewhere there in chat. And I will see you guys again soon. Bye-bye for now.
Transfer complete.